Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. For the delay, and today we are going to start the international webinar of Islamic Economic Department and also the Faculty of Multimedia University. Recently, Your Excellency, the Dean of Faculty of Business of Multimedia University, Associate Professor Dr. Dr. Gerald, and also the Dean of Faculty of Islamic Studies of Universitas Islam Indonesia, Dr. Tamyiz Muharram, MA, distinguished speaker, Dr. Tariqul Islam, and also Zain Mutakin, MA, and all the fellows attendees in this webinar. I'm going to announce that there are some problems here in this
hello.
Agenda in the beginning. Yeah.
Hello, Martini. Yes, I'm in.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Tariqul, here. Well, to begin this agenda, I think it's good for us to recite Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, waiting for the participants to join this webinar. We are going to start immediately. The topic of today's webinar is the scaling up small and medium enterprises with financial technologies. We both know that the financial technologies and also small and medium enterprises are connected. We know that small and medium enterprises plays an important role in economic development both in Indonesia and also in Malaysia. Why? Because the small and medium enterprises absorbing a massive labor force, and also it is proven to be very flexible to sudden shocks such as the late financial crisis of 2008. And we are hoping that the small and medium enterprises will also survive and resist in this pandemic of COVID-19 in 2020. And however, we also know that the small and medium enterprises also facing a hard to overcome how to finance the small and medium enterprises. And one of the solution is through the financial technology. Why? Because in this disruption era, we know that the technology makes us easier to overcome all the hardships we found in every aspects of life, including in financial. And I'm not going to talk any longer because we have the distinguished speakers here, Dr. Muhammad Tariqul Islam Khan, and also Zain Mutakin, the PhD candidates of International Islamic University of Malaysia, and also the lecturers of Islamic Economic Department of Universitas Islam Indonesia. This agenda I'm here, my name is Martini, and I'm going to handle this agenda from the beginning to the final, up to 12 o'clock of Indonesian time and 1 o'clock of Malaysian time. And this agenda will be started by the first speaker, Dr. Muhammad Tariqul Islam, and also be continued immediately to the second speaker, Mr. Zain Mutakin, MA. And both speakers are given 35 minutes to deliver the presentation, and we are going to discuss with the materials with all participants afterwards. and I'm hopefully that all the participants has fully understood the rules of this webinar by turning off the microphone. The microphone is muted during the agenda, and if you have any questions or sudden questions, you might type it in the public chat space by addressing your question to all speakers, and also start it with the introduction, name, and from what institution, and also from what country are you coming. So let's begin this presentation. I'm inviting Dr. Muhammad Tariqullah Islam to present here. Dr. Tariqullah, are you present? I'm sorry, Dr.
Hello, good morning.
Are you present?
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, good morning. Well, Dr. Tariqullah, we are pleased to have you among us here, and we are ready to invite you to present your presentation immediately.
Okay, thank
you. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Thank you. Okay, you are given 35 minutes to present your presentation, and I will, well, all the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Ms. Martini, and also others for joining this international webinar on scaling up SMEs through FinTech. So I believe that you can see my sharing screen in PowerPoint slides, right? Martini?
Yes.
Are you able to see my sharing screen?
Yes, we believe so.
You can see my sharing screen, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think already you have a brief introduction about myself. Let me introduce me again. My name is Muhammad Tariqul Islam Khan from FOB, Multimedia University, Malaysia, Melaka campus. Okay, so let's start our presentation. When you talk about SMEs contribution in Malaysia, they have contributed a significant amount to the Malaysian GDPs. This is the recent statistics report from Department of Statistics Malaysia from 2018. So from this figure, we can see that how Malaysia's SMEs GDP recorded a strong growth of 6.2%, which is compared to Malaysia's GDPs of 4.7%. And also at the same time, if we look at the yearly basis increment of SMEs contribution, so we can see that SMEs GDP contribution increased to 38.3% as compared to 37.8% in last year, that is 2017. And by looking at the figure and the performance of SMEs, we can say that SMEs play a very important role to the Malaysian economy, and SMEs employed 2/3 of the labor force in the small and medium enterprises. So by looking at the SMEs contribution to the Malaysian GDP, what problem actually SMEs are facing to access to finance? Based on the report, it shows that there is a financing gap of 21.5 million in 2017, which has been also increased in recent years. So we can say from this figure that on one hand, there is an investors who are looking to invest into potential investment. On the other hand, there are SMEs who are looking for fund to finance their business, or to start up their business, or maybe those who are expanding their business, they're looking for finance, which is required for their for their growth, or to start up their business. So actually, fintech, which is known as financial technology, plays a very important role to fill this gap. So this opportunity is being taken by fintech to make sure that the investors have plenty of option to invest. At the same time, SMEs can meet their financing need. So if we look at the financing options that are available to SMEs, if you look at the traditional financing needs from the seed capital to the capital markets, so we can see that those who are looking for a very small amount of money to start their business or to expand their business. So they can look into the seed capital, which can be raised from family, friends, also the relatives, or through the equity crowdfunding. Even though equity crowdfunding give more opportunities to raise fund, then if we see that medium cap to small cap to medium cap capitalization, we have P2P financing, which is known as peer-to-peer financing. We have crowdfunding, and recently we have digital token offering, or we call it ICO, which is initial coin offering. So these are the digital way to raise fund for the startup business or for the SMEs. So SMEs are fintech is playing a significant role in this area when the companies are looking for a small to medium size capitalization. Then we have bank financing also. If someone the company is looking for medium to large cap, then we have capital market at the end. If you are going to be publicly listed, which is through IPO. So these are the SMEs sources of finance from seed capital to the capital market. And the fintech and the innovation in fintech lending is playing a very important role in between seed capital and bank financing. So we have P2P financing platform, we have crowdfunding platform, we have also recently a digital token offering, or ICO. So if we talk about digital financing platform for SMEs, we have peer-to-peer financing, we have crowdfunding, then we have a digital token offering, or ICO. So if you combine this, all this digital fundraising platform, they're able to raise 706 million for 1,943 Malaysian companies, according to recent Securities Commission report. So this amount actually is contributed to fill the gap of SMEs, but still there is a gap, and fintech innovations are still trying to fill that gap. But we can see the trend is growing to fill the gap what SMEs are looking for. Okay, so let's explain P2P financing first. So if we look at the diagram here, so we can see that SMEs are mainly they're looking for fund to expand their business, or for the short-term financing, or maybe for working capital financing. So they'll approach to the platform to raise the fund, and the platform will going to assess their creditworthiness and the credibility of their documents, whether the firm is really have the ability to pay back the investors' money or not, and also the principal. So after the assessment, the P2P lending platform will allow the investors to do the listing or to invest into the platform. So if I explain it very briefly, is so when the listing is approved and the platform is able to get the required fund for the particular SMEs, these investors are providing working capital to the SMEs, and in return, what actually investors are going to get, they're going to get the principal plus interest. It's based on the contract, it's based on the interest rate, or it's based on the periodic payment. So this interest and principal based on the periodic payment of what SMEs promise to give to the investors. So what actually the platform is going to get here, the platform is going to get origination fee and also service fee. So if we wanted to say that what type of fees the platform is going to get is administrative fees, service fee, and also the management fees. So the platform is going to manage the borrower accounts and also the lender's account. So they're going to charge certain fees from them. At the same time, they're going to get transaction fees from the bank. So these are the main sources of income for platform. And what actually they're doing, they're going to issue debt to a group of investors. As I said, that investors are looking for investment, so they don't know how to invest. So this SME, this P2P is considered as one of the investment arm that investors can utilize. So when the P2P platform, they issue debt to a group of investors, the investors invest into this P2P platform, and in return they're going to get interest on their investment, and also there is a periodic repayment of principal and interest. And this return, and also it can be more stable and also predictable returns, because it's a contract between SMEs and also the lender. Okay, so if you look at how fintech lending connect investors with SMEs, so this figure can illustrate how fintech lending connect investors with SMEs. So we have different types of investors who are ready to invest. We have individual investors, we have institutional investors, we have angel investors. So when SMEs is looking to raise fund, so they submit the application to P2P platform, which is known as digital platform. So they assess all their creditworthiness, and they're going to assign rating based on the creditworthiness or the historical financial statement of the company. So this credit score depends, like it can be A plus, or maybe B. So based on this credit scores, the individual can find their suitable investment, what type of risk they're going to take. If, let's say, they wanted to invest in a credit rating which is B or B plus, so definitely there is a high risk involved. At the same time, so this high risk is going to return high reward as well. Okay, so based on this credit rating or the lending purpose, investors is going to invest to this kind of SMEs, and there is a ceiling for individual investors and also for angel investors according to Securities Commission Malaysia. But for institutional investors, there is no ceiling. They can invest as much they're willing to invest based on the requirement, based on the required amount by the SMEs. So in return, they're going to get, investors are going to get repayment of their principal plus interest. At the same time, SMEs can meet their working capital needs and also the short-term financing. So if you look at what are the benefits that SMEs can get from P2P platform, so they can have greater access to finance, which is considered as fast financing, top up to bank financing, because this SMEs, they are facing a lot of problem when they're seeking for fund from the commercial banks or any other sort of financial institutions. They need to show them the collateral that they have, because bank will not simply give loan to the SMEs without any collateral value. And also they're going to assess their creditability, and also so many problems are facing by SMEs when they want to access to finance from commercial banks. There is some sort of financial constraint. Sometimes it takes long time to get the required fund. So in P2P platform, the SMEs can easily access to finance, which is considered as fast financing, and that can also top up with the bank financing. It's definitely collateral free, and also it's secured financing, because Securities Commissions are supervising the activities of P2P platform in Malaysia, and it's fast disbursement. So once the listing is successful, the bank will immediately release the money to the platform, and platform will release the money to the SMEs to start their business. And at the same time, it's safe and well regulated. And if you look at from the investor's point of view, they're going to get high potential returns, and also it's short-term tenure, 6 months to 12 months. It depends on the contract, and it depends how the borrower, which is SMEs, is going to pay back to the lender. So it's usually short-term tenure, and also it's a low investment amount. So investors can invest like 500 ringgit to this type of P2P platform. So it's a very minimal amount. They can start with 500 ringgit to invest, and it's safe and well regulated at the same time. So this this P2P platform actually brings a win-win situation for both SMEs and also for the investors. So let me look at the P2P financing scenario in Malaysia. If you look at what is the current stage of P2P financing in Malaysia, so we can say that Malaysia is the first ASEAN countries to regulate P2P because of greater demand of access to finance, and also Securities Commission, the feel that they need to regulate this P2P platform so that it will allow SMEs to access to finance more easily and without any financial constraint, which will ultimately contribute to the Malaysian economy or GDP. And because of the greater need, they approved license to 6 P2P platform initially in 2016. So there was around 50 applicants for this P2P platform, but after assessment of all their credentials and the documents, Securities Commission allow only 6 P2P platform in 2016. And when they see that the demand for this type of financing is keep on increasing and growing, and it's going to reach an adolescent stage, the Securities Commission rethink and the issue license to another 8 new platform in 2019, which is last year. And each successful campaign able to raise up to 200,000 ringgit, which is 300% increase in the number of campaign in 2018. If we compare between 2018 and 2019, so when there was a 300% increase in the number of campaign, Securities Commission allow another 8 P2P platform to start their operation in Malaysia. And this in total 8 plus 6, which is 14 P2P platforms. So they're able to supply 350 million for nearly 900 Malaysian micro, small and medium enterprises in 2019, which was compared to 2018, it was 212.65 million. And it provides in 2018 to 643 micro, small and medium enterprises. So you can see actually the demand for this type of P2P platform among Malaysians SMEs, which is very easy to access to finance, and SMEs can really benefit by raising funds through this P2P platform. So due to this greater demand, Securities Commission is now planning to have secondary market for this P2P platform in near future. And if we look at the campaign and issuers of P2P platform, so the first figure that we can see here is from 2019 June, for the first 6 months of 2019. So we can see that there was like 4,438 successful campaign, which was able to raise 377.16 million. There was 1,139 successful issuers. And if we compare what was like from January to June and from June to December, we can see actually the successful campaign was almost doubled, which was 8,102 successful campaign, which was almost double of previous 6 months of 2019. Then also the amount raised was consistent with the successful campaign. The amount also raised was doubled, which was 632.38 million, and successful fund issuer was 1,866. So actually we can see actually how this P2P platform is gaining attention from SMEs, and investors are really willing to invest this kind of micro, small and medium enterprises. So if you look at in terms of demographic, most of the investors are retail investors compared to angel and institutional investors. But recently the institutional investors also interested to invest this type of P2P platform and also the campaign. And if you look at in terms of their age, especially the younger population, or we call them millennials, are really interested to invest in this kind of digital lending platform. So SMEs can really give more focus on how they can attract these millennials to invest this type of investment, which is an online digital platform. And these millennials are a good segment for them to target to raise capital for their businesses. So we may think about how this P2P lending platform is different from the traditional lending from the bank or traditional credit market. If you look at traditional credit market, we need to go through the intermediaries, which is bank, and we have the lenders and borrowers as like the P2P lending platform, but we have to go through the bank. But if you look at P2P lending market, actually there is no intermediaries, right? So investors can simply invest to any borrowers, which is SMEs, So they can at the same time one investors can invest more than one SMEs, okay, through the P2P platform. And P2P lending platform, those who are raising funds through the P2P platform, so they can get amount from different types of lenders, not only from one lenders. There are so many lenders can invest into their listing. So the borrowers also has the opportunity to get the funding from different investors at the same time. So it's like if we compare this traditional credit market with the online lending market, so we can see that online P2P lending market is more convenient to access to finance, and also from the investor side, they can invest into so many P2P platform, or they can invest into many borrowers at the same P2P platform. Okay. Now moving to the next fintech lending innovation, which is known as equity crowdfunding. This equity crowdfunding, the issue equity to a group of investors, the raise fund through equity by selling equity to the investors, and that's why it's called equity crowdfunding. And this crowdfunding concept is come from there are so many investors are contributing to this funding activities, and that's why the concept is coming like equity crowdfunding, because the raise fund through equity or issuing equity to a group of investors. And what investors are going to get, the investors are going to earn capital gains and dividends, and there is no predefined repayments. This equity crowdfunding can be volatile because it's not a like loan contract between two parties. It's based on the equity. If the company makes profit, they're going to declare dividend, and investors can claim the ownerships from the company. So sometimes it can consider as volatile, but potentially significant returns. You can get high returns if the business becomes successful in near future, and you can claim the ownership of the firm, and also can get significant returns from your investment by investing in equity crowdfunding. Okay, so let's look at the business model of equity crowdfunding, how this equity crowdfunding connect investors with SMEs. So when the firms are going to raise fund, especially startup companies and also SMEs, they're going to apply their pitching ideas or the business ideas to the equity crowdfunding platform, and also the crowd platform, equity crowdfunding platform is going to assess their business model and their potential of the business, how the business is going to grow, and also their financial statements. So based on their ideas and their business model, this equity crowdfunding also is going to assign some credit rating to the companies, those who are looking for fund. Okay, so the investors also, they can see the listing from the equity crowdfunding platform that okay, this company is going to raise 500 ringgit, and this company maybe is a beauty or a skincare company, or maybe this company is education related company. So based on their business ideas, the investors can choose which company they are interested in to invest. So we have also three types of investors for equity crowdfunding platform. We have individual investors, we have angel investors, we have institutional investors. So when the investors invest in this type of startup funds or startup ventures, they're going to get equity of that startup business, and in return the SMEs or startups are going to get fund from the investors, right? So this is also, we can say, like benefited by two ways, also from the investor side, also from the SME side. And if you look at the benefits of startup and SMEs, they can access to funds for startup, especially for startup business, and it's an opportunity to pre-sale and removing risk involving initial cost and market validation and review from the crowd, because initially when you have the startup ideas, maybe you cannot assess whether the idea is workable or not, but when you pitch your ideas to the platform, so you can get the market validation that yes, investors are willing to invest in my startup business or startup ideas. So we can have the market validation, and also we can get the review from the crowd, and it serves as definitely as a marketing tool, because SMEs they wanted to let the investors know that this is my idea, so you may be interested to invest in my business. So by doing this, this type of mechanism can serve as a marketing tool for the startup or for the SMEs. And if we look at the benefits for the investors, they have insights on the internet project, because they are part of this startup firms when they invest into this type of equity crowdfunding. And it's a very good opportunity for them to invest in early stage of the farm. So when the farm is growing, that can be considered as the early stage. And the potential handsome investment return through IPO and fundraising activities. So maybe in future, if the business established, maybe the business can think about to become public, so they can get the handsome investment returns from this fundraising or IPO activities. So if you ask me what is the difference between this equity crowdfunding and P2P platform, P2P lending. For the P2P lending, is kind of loan contract between SMEs and the investors. But if you look at the equity crowdfunding raise fund by issuing equity to the investors. So it's two different scenarios, okay? And for the P2P platform, they're going to get principal plus interest. They're going to get the interest on their payment, on their investment. And for the equity crowdfunding, they're going to get the equity instead of interest, okay? So if we look at overall process for equity crowdfunding, if I categorize this overall crowdfunding process, first of all, the business need to prepare their pitch on business model, especially they need to focus on their value proposition, what are the value they're going to sell to the customers, and also the valuation of the company is very important. So they need to prepare this business model, and then they need to pitch or marketing their ideas to the equity crowdfunding platform that we have. So the present pitch to public investors through videos or YouTube videos or other sort of communication, including individual, high net and institutional investors. So the target mainly individual and also high net worth institutional investors, also at the same time angel investors. And at the end, if their campaign is successful, they're going to raise the fund. So this process completes fundraising exercise and also grow business. We have not only equity crowdfunding available in Malaysia, we have also other types of crowdfunding platform, which is reward-based crowdfunding. We have debt-based crowdfunding. We have donation-based crowdfunding. So what are the differences between these all different types of crowdfunding? If you look at the reward-based crowdfunding, the contributors are going to get product or services that the project aims to create. So the return is based on the reward. If you look at the debt-based crowdfunding, is similar to P2P lending platform, because for debt-based crowdfunding, the contributors are going to get financial repayment from the company as lender. And if you look at the donation-based crowdfunding, so contributors receive typically no rewards. So this type of crowdfunding is to help the community, maybe for the medical needs or maybe for any other purposes which is going to help the community or maybe elder people. So this kind of contribution on the crowdfunding, the way they raise the fund is called donation-based crowdfunding. So we have different types of crowdfunding available, which allows individuals to contribute their money to this type of crowdfunding, and the companies who raise funds through this type of crowdfunding can meet their financial needs. So let's look at the differences between traditional and crowdfunding. In terms of product, banks and financial intermediaries that provide traditional loan, but crowdfunding is flexible loan. And if you look at the duration, banks and financial intermediaries is long-term loan, and if you look at the crowdfunding, it's short-term. And target segments for banks and financial intermediaries are larger SMEs with collateral, because if you wanted to get loan from the bank, definitely there should be some sort of collateral, especially for SMEs, large SMEs. But if you look at crowdfunding, there is no need to pledge anything as a collateral. SMEs can easily access to finance with good cash flow. And if you look at the value proposition and compare these two types of financing platform, banks and financial intermediaries offline and larger and also cheaper, But if you look at crowdfunding platform, it's online, faster, and flexible. Okay, so let's look at how crowdfunding contributes to the Malaysian economy. Also, this Securities Commission regulate this crowdfunding platform, and Malaysia is known as also first ASEAN countries to regulate this type of crowdfunding platform. In total, we have 10 equity crowdfunding platform, and also there are so many crowdfunding platform are still in process. They need to get the approval from the Securities Commission. But officially, it's 10 equity crowdfunding platform have been registered as of last year, May 2019. And we call this type of platform as recognized market operators who are able to provide this kind of equity crowdfunding services to the investors and also at the same time to SMEs. And an issuer may raise up to 10 million in 12-month period. Last time it was 5 million. Then there was a revision recently after during the COVID-19 crisis. They said that the firms no need to be limited to their amount to 5 million. That can raise up to, the issuer can raise up to 10 million. So actually the double the amount that the issuer can raise, especially SMEs in 12-month period. And also 70% of the business based on the report it shows that are led by the women. And also the investors are younger investors, which can be considered as millennials, and also retail investors are mostly contribute to this type of campaign, apart from angel and institutional investors. If we look at also side-by-side comparison between crowdfunding in June 2019 and also crowdfunding as of December 2019, so we can see that successful campaign in 2019 June was 64, and they were to raise 54.91 million. There were 63 successful issuers. But if we compare this figure with after 6 months, we can see that successful campaign has raised from 64 to 80, and the amount raised, the amount was 73.74 million, and there was 77 successful issuers. So you can see that this trend is also rising. But if we compare crowdfunding with P2P lending, definitely the P2P lending is injecting more fund, or they're injecting more money to SMEs compared to equity crowdfunding. But equity crowdfunding is still trying to get attention from the investors, and also they're also considered as successful. If we look at some of the examples of SMEs or startup, those who raise fund through equity crowdfunding, we have WBB, which is a job portal, and they're able to fund $140,000 US. Financial education, which is able to raise 1.5 million, and there was 318 investors who has contributed to this venture. Then Baby Dash, it was a baby product. It's providing it's in baby product business, and they're able to raise 2.5 million, and there was 133 investors who contribute to this startup business. And also Sales Candy, which was able to raise 1.5 million, and number of investors was 54 for this company. So actually the investors can claim the equity of the company, because it's all equity crowdfunding. Okay, the raise fund through equity crowdfunding, so the investors can be considered as one of the equity holder of that startup venture. Recently there are two companies, because this already are in operation, but if we look at Homi and Christian, these are the two new SMEs who raise fund through crowdfunding. And Homi is in healthy eating, so they're able to raise 283,989,000 ringgit, but still they're in the campaign to raise more fund. There was 32 investors who contribute to this Homi venture, which is healthy eating, and Christian is a beauty and skincare SMEs, and they're able to raise 500,000 ringgit. So these are the two news SMEs ongoing that raise fund from equity crowdfunding. Christian is already in operation. Homi is also in halfway of operation, but still there's the shortage of some sort of money, but still they're trying to get fund from the investors. So okay, so far we see how P2P lending platform, how crowdfunding platform, which can be categorized as equity crowdfunding, donation-based crowdfunding, reward-based crowdfunding, and equity debt-based crowdfunding contribute to the Malaysian SMEs to meet their financial needs, at the same time to contribute to Malaysian economy. Because we see based on the report that SMEs, most of the SMEs are failed because of lack of funding, and sometimes they face financial constraint, financial difficulty to access to traditional banking loan. Now there is a new innovation of fintech. We have initial coin offering. In Malaysia, we call it digital token offering, but the term is known as ICO in the world. Everyone is known about ICO, but in Malaysia we call it digital token offering. In Singapore also is known as digital token offering. So this DTOs, or I call it digital token offering, is a new digital way to raise fund apart from P2P lending platform and equity crowdfunding or crowdfunding platform, especially for startups and SMEs, through the creation and sale of digital tokens. So those who plan to raise funds through DTOs, they're going to create and sell the digital tokens, especially they're going they use Ethereum platform, not Bitcoin, because Ethereum, it can be editable and it gives so many advantages for the firm to come up with the new coin and to issue the new coin. So they can create the coin and they can sell this digital coin to the investors. Okay, and the benefit of this DTO is it's borderless and it's allow access to anyone all over the world. And this digital token offering, the offer access to startups at venture stage with the liquidity. I'll explain this one later on, how this startup fund can access to venture stage with liquidity. And this digital token offering at the starting point from which new business model based on open network especially, and also incentivized ecosystem can be built. So you can see that when someone issue or sell the digital tokens, is going to be recorded to the blockchain. Okay, so I'll explain this one. So let's see how this digital token offering facilitate SMEs to raise fund, which is a new way to raise fund through initial coin offering or digital token offering. So once the company is going to raise fund through digital token offering, they need to release their white paper. So this white paper will consist the company information, their business proposal and usage of raise fund, how much money they're going to raise through digital token offering. So when they release this white paper, the investors are going to be interested whether they wanted to buy this digital token or not. And when the company issue token, it should be through initial exchange offering. We call it IEO in Malaysia, initial exchange offering. So they will issue token, the company will issue token through this ICO to the investors, and the investors will invest money to this project or to this particular startup companies or SMEs. And this initial exchange offering, we call it crypto exchange, because through this exchange, the investors can get the token, and also they can invest to the firm, which needs money to start up their business. And once the investors buy the token from the company through the initial exchange, this will be recorded to the blockchain. This is the company's own blockchain. The transaction will be recorded in a distributed digital ledger, which is immutable. And there is no necessity of proof of work from the other miners, because this digital token offering, they're using Ethereum technology. And what are the benefits our investors are going to get by investing in this digital token? Let's say investors are entitled to certain rights of the prospective blockchain project. Once the investors buy this token, actually they can use this token later on as a utility services, a utility token. So they can get some services if the company is in let's say in any type of servicing or the product the company is offering to the the company is offering to the customers by raising funds through this digital token. So the token holder can use this token to get the product and services from that particular company. So it's not only the token that you hold, but at the same time you can use this token to get the service from that particular company. So it's not token only, it has other advantages as well. So you can use this token as an utility token, and it's you are able to trade this token in cryptocurrency trading platform, because there will be an opportunity to trade this cryptocurrency in the trading platform, and you can it will help you to enable secondary market transaction. So there are so many advantages that investors can get by investing in this digital token offering. There are so many benefits the investors can get, but at the same time the investors need to think about the risk of buying this type of digital token. So definitely the return is coming with the risk. Okay, so if you look at the amount raised in token sales in 2018, if you look at the Q1 from Q4, actually it was 7 billion that through the ICO sales the company is able to raise fund. But if you look at Q1 of 2018, we can see that in first quarter there was 217 ICO sales, which is impressive, really impressive in terms of amount raised through this token sales, and it was 65% increase and able to raise 6.6 billion in one quarter only in 2018. And as I said that if let's say any company would like to issue that token, if let's say I talk about someone wanted to build a park, okay, recreation park for the residents, so they can actually issue the park token. So they can issue the park token, and investors can invest this type of park token. So they get the token, right? And the company or those wanted to build the park, they're going to get the money from buying park token to the investors, right? So those who hold the token, they can actually get the facilities or the services from the park. So they can use this park as a recreational activities. They can enjoy the facilities from this park by owning that park token. Okay, so it's not only the token that you hold, it becomes utility at the end and also services. And if let's say you wanted to have a new business like plantation, I wanted to produce organic bananas, so you can have banana token to raise fund, and the token holders are going to get benefits from that particular company. Okay.
I'm sorry, doctor, but you have 3 minutes left.
Oh, okay. I try to.
Thank you.
I try to sum it up. So we can say that how the company raised fund using ISO all over the world. If I look at the figure, especially Singapore is very impressive. They're able to raise 260 million within this region in Southeast Asian countries. Okay, so if I talk about a Malaysian scenario, we have Securities Commission recently released the guideline on digital assets, which regulates initial exchange offering, and companies are allowed to raise up to 100 million ringgit, and this in line with the Malaysia's Share Prosperity Vision 2030 by supporting the growth of SMEs and micro businesses, which expected to contribute 50% of Malaysia's GDP. And retail investors are allowed to invest 2,000 ringgit per offering. So this is the recent guideline from Securities Commission on digital token offering. So if everyone is talking about COVID-19, what is going to be like post COVID-19. So we can say that fintech financing is a new normal, especially for post COVID-19. And this pandemic has actually accelerated digital adoption because people are locked down at home, and we need to avoid social distancing and all this that guided by WHO. So we can say that this fintech financing actually opens so many opportunities for the investors, and the companies need to have an online presence for them to stay also relevant. And Malaysia's MDEC, which is Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, they're pushing digital adoption to get more companies to raise fund on digital platform, especially those affected by COVID-19 crisis. So my conclusion should be P2P platform, crowdfunding, and digital token offering, all these fintech innovations or fintech lending innovations are new normal for online fundraising in post-COVID-19. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Martini.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. And thank you for the amazing presentation. Even though my students say that you are going extremely fast, it's just because we're not adjusting to English lecture. That's my students type me.
I'm really sorry
okay.
for that thing because time was constrained. So I thought that if I go a little bit slowly, I may not be able to cover all my slides. So I'm really sorry
Yes,
for speedy talking.
No, I guess it's just because we're not adjusting to English lecture, just like that in Indonesia. But however, that was so wonderful, and we're so thankful for the great presentation. And I'm going to remind all the participants also to type your questions in the public chat space. You can either write in English, Melayu, or Bahasa. Yeah. Please feel free to type in any language because we are neighboring country and we find no burden in language, I think. So we are going to ask Mr. Zain Mutakin to deliver the presentation for the second speaker today in international webinar. Mr. Zain Mutakin, the time is yours. Please share your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Wait a second. I think I have a glitch. Oops. I don't know.
Okay, some questions has appeared in the public chat space, but we are going to discuss it later after the second presentation of Mr. Zain Mutakin. Okay. Okay, Mr. Zain Mutakin, the time is yours.
Okay, so my slide is already presented or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you please?
Is the slide already presented?
Yes, it is presented.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Martini. Welcome, Dr.
Please kindly make it full screen, Mister, because it's
I already done.
Writings are barely unseen. Too small, way too small.
Way too small.
Yeah.
Let me see. Already done? Is it big enough?
Wait.
I don't know. How about this? And I don't know. This one? Okay. I'm not very acquainted to this. Okay. This one? Okay?
Yeah, okay lah.
Okay. Okay. I can see anything. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Actually, I originally is expected to present some discussion on Islamic fintech, especially in Indonesia. And to be fair, if we are only discussing fintech only, and seems a bit unfair for me. So that's why when I listen to Dr. Tarikul, yeah, so far what has been done by fintech in Malaysia or Indonesia or over the world, still the same, that the SME has a possibility to access all the financing that they cannot to access from the a larger bank. So that's why we need to question how the SME itself can access the financing from the fintech for the fintech lending. So that's why we need to remind that we are still in the middle of recovery from the COVID-19 outbreak, which struck us since March all over the world. When I'm still practically I'm still in Malaysia and cannot go back to Indonesia. for around 3 months, and now we are still recovering, and everything is going to change until hopefully for the next October. And then we have to agree that this pandemic has set the motion of our economy into a deep downturn and synchronized all over the world, where mortality can strike fears into the community and the enterprises, has set the consumption and services output by the firms, whether it is a micro, small, medium, or even large enterprise, is dropped remarkably, in which is affecting to the production from the enterprises, especially when some countries are still enforcing a movement control order. It is absolutely made a severe hit to the labor market. This made a quite contraction to the global trade right now. Now, I need to inform you before we discussing further about scaling up MSME in current situation. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, Indonesia has come up with the couple of strategy to improve the scale of Islamic economic industry, and in form of the Master Plan of Islamic Economic 2019 to 2024 by National Committee of Sharia Economics and Finances. There are several strategies that is addressed in the master plan, but however, my concern right now is after the coming of the COVID-19, we need to look to retrace the strategy from the master plan in Islamic economic industry master plan in Indonesia by strengthening the SME sectors, and digital economy must be set into motion as soon as possible. Because by establishing an educational program, improving database, integrated information system is important. And I think these two agenda, by strengthening the SME sectors and utilization of digital economy, should be finished before by the end of 2020, because our market, basically our market has already shifted to a new normal of the economy activities. For instance, on the data, you can see from the state of our MSME Indonesia in 2018. This data I gathered from the Ministry of Cooperation and SME. The number of microfirms in Indonesia has switched to 63 million units, where it's already absorbed the labor and reached about 107 million people. But it's too bad that the latest available data is only from the year of 2018, and I still believe that this number kept growing exponentially before the outbreak came. But we cannot be sure whether, because from the experience from the COVID, we know there's a lot of downsizing from the enterprises, and we can see that the labor market has been pushed downward. There are a lot of unemployment and underemployment right now. So now, let me to remind you that why the MSE matter right now. Because basically, MSE are essential to create a better and more competitive and efficient market. We have to admit that MSME have a high adaptability to play a major role in removing regional and sectors imbalances in the economy, where the innovation and the new product keep pouring into the market. And also the flexibility to enter and exit the economy stimulates the reallocation of factor production from less profitable to more profitable ventures. Actually, for me, to engage in MSME, the user, or we can call it the businessman or the enterprises, not particularly concerned about the profit. In my opinion, they're more concerned about how they can display their creativity and innovation to the market, so they can give some impact to the economy and more inclusive to the economy. And another critical reason for why the MSME is basically important for us to make a more inclusive economy is it has a bigger chance to reduce poverty, where it tends to employ poor and low income workers, especially for poor region and rural area. Helps. Now, because of the COVID-19, we need to ask ourselves. We need to ask ourselves, by experiencing what has COVID-19 over to our life right now, how can we respond to engage to the MSME sectors? How can we become a player into the MSME? This phenomenon allegedly creates two types of businessmen, two type of enterprises or the company. The first one is about the necessity-driven businessmen, because they are pushed to for limited option of work, or even absent, or even unsatisfactory. And the other one is the opportunity-driven businessmen, where they are pulled into out of choice. Now, we need to ask ourselves, you need to ask yourself, which type are we now? Which we are going to be? We need to look at it into it more precisely. So, to engage the MSME, there are common barriers which is hold the growth of the firms. A major reason is a market failures. This is marked by restricted access to debt funding or financing from the bank, with a lot of kind of reason. We can see from a previous presentation by Dr. Tariqul, he said that the financing gap is close to $12.8 billion. So we know that there are a lot of business that improve, that are established in our society, but they have some problem to grow further because the limitation of the credit access. The size of SME also become the barriers to growth, where the rise of transaction and cost the limits the MSME ability to reach onto a better opportunity. The limitation of human capital provenly affecting the SME's productivity to achieve business objective. So this is a big fact from this research that conducted by National Committee of Syariah Economic Finances Indonesia. I believe this is my friend, Brother Imam and Dr. Raditya Sukmana from Erlangga University. Their research is about to confirm the impact sectors from the impact from the pandemic in East Java. So in this chart, we can see that there are three. The Islamic Economic Institution has also received some blowback from the pandemic shock. And actually, for the bank, I cannot be sure how can they manage it. However, about the non-bank, from the Islamic cooperative side, we can see the cooperative members has already faced some kind of trouble from the pandemic. And from their research, they agree that there are kind of three sectors that impacted into the business for the cooperative member. Actually, since April, from their data, they said that second and tertiary trade product has provenly affected from the pandemic shock. And then fishery, we can assume that from the fishery sectors is also affected, especially since the lockdown or the closed other client sectors such as restaurant and hotels. However, the most interesting part is the agriculture sectors. Agriculture sectors remain strongly and not affected by the pandemic. The study argued that the agriculture is increased, but the agriculture is not affected because it's only affected by the weather change, not by the pandemic. And I believe that most of in our country that we know that farmers or agriculture sectors, they mainly in the rural area where the population is not that the density of population is not that high, whether in the urban area. And now, when we're talking about how we can scale up our potential by MSME to gather up to access the financing from the fintech, like what has been discussed by Dr. Tariko before, we're going to unfold the relevance the digital platform and MSME. And we know that right now everybody has a mobile phone or cell phone to access internet. We can see from the data, from this data, that at least 5 years, it is for the past 5 years, large number of household members keep using and keep growing to using to mobile phone, which means that everybody has an equally acquainted to using technology. Although most of the access to the internet mainly for school purposes, work, and by others. I don't quite sure about these others. Maybe others, perhaps about, yeah, right now our kids and our friends tends to use internet to play some games like Mobile Legends, PUBG. Even in the middle of COVID-19, everybody look up to streaming, watching streaming. So I believe after this one, the using of the internet access is exponentially different. And now, when we look into the state of fintech in Indonesia, the engagement is absolutely stunning, because from the accumulated lending financing is already accumulated into 106 trillion rupiah to finance the economy. Although the concentration is still at large in Java Island, and other than Java, it still remain not quite great. The user borrower has reached also 24 million entity to engage the fintech facility, where the number of vendor also increased to 647,000 entity. One thing to keep in mind that from this the state of the fintech, the outstanding loan also increased 67% year on year. And for the information, in Indonesia there are 12 number of Sharia platform for the fintech that already registered, and I believe there's only one that have provenly have the certificate. They have certificate. Now, when we are trying to know who is the user from the fintech, so that who will be going to be the MSME, the player into the fintech institution, we need to identify the main user. From this data, we can now identify that we can see that the main user from borrower and the lender in fintech sectors are late 20s and mid 30s, which is mean this is a millennial age. And we can see there is still a gender gap where the male still has a large portion to invest in the fintech fintech sectors. Cool. Now, I think about how can it relate to the accelerator of online use and consumer market. Actually, diversity of means of payment from the credit card to cash with reference number also affecting how the behavior of the consumer and the enterprise has to adapt by the diversity of the payment, which means they asking about the secure payment, which increase the trust between vendors, and the flexibility of the delivery methods, discount, reduced price throughout the year, the proliferation of sectors accessible online, such as tourism and travel, which is expanding particularly rapidly, has become the driven how we are more adept to use technology. And we know that if we are practically to become the MSME, if we cannot adapt to this kind of situation, when the consumer market tends to prefer themselves to be conveniently to access everything, to get financing, to get some capital, these are so important. So, although the Islamic fintechs prove themselves to become new player in the Islamic finance, we know that some people still face the lack of understanding and awareness. What I mean in this section, that means that not all people aware about the Islamic fintech. Everybody knows about Islamic fintech, but the thing is, they understand what the kind of project, what kind of product or services that are offered by the Islamic fintech itself. We know that from the growing numbers of Islamic fintech in over the world, we still has some advantage to promote Islamic-based contract to the consumer who are conservative and more private in Islamic view. But the thing is, even though the people aware how and they understanding not quite that good, the slow pace from the Islamic finance market is still, I can say the pace is still slow, because we know that our market share is not as big as Malaysia. Malaysia, I believe, has already reached 20% or even 25%. Indonesia not even close to 10%. And the adaptability to the technology also become the barriers for the fintech itself to become much more accessible to the MSME. The less benefit regulation to give some assurance for the consumer, the user protection, and the lack of quality human resources that can improve the better performance of Islamic fintech still become a cliche, the common market barriers in Indonesia. Now, MSME has benefit from the Islamic fintech. When you look at this is from research by Rossivina et al. 2019. He said that what are factors that preferred by the MSME to engage into the Islamic fintech? Actually, it's not about the Islamic fintech; it's about the fintech. And in her research, they confirmed that most of the MSME tend to use Islamic fintech because the loan process is so simple, it's so quick, and they can access to the loan, and where interest rates is not as become their concern, because from what I said before, the conservative consumer, for the conservative MSME practitioner, they see that interest rate doesn't matter because we are using profit and loss sharing or the margin rates, whether that are promoting by the Islamic contract. When the process cost, we know that from the fintech, more efficient and leads to lower operating costs. The loan amount have raised that can cover what has been needed by the MSME, although the differences in business structure may lead a bad opinion by the user. The flexibility is also the most beneficial, not almost, the benefit for the MSME, because they can freely choose, adjust the tenor to their own capacity and their capability. Now, I need to inform you what to expect from the fintech performance to MSME. There are 4 things that we are trying to expect. The first one is the compliance is visited. We know that when we're talking about Islamic fintech, MSME needs some assurance that what they are giving as the lender or as the borrower, it's compliance to the Sharia. So that means that the company from the fintech need to assure the lenders or the investor that they are compliance with the Sharia base. Then I know, and the performance of the compliance in Indonesia and even in Malaysia is pretty good and really, really nice. And then the second one, what we are trying to expect is the ethical conduct of the offered and utilized project. We know that there are some type of financing in the fintech, like what we discussed before, the P2P lending or equity crowdfunding model. We need to see there are some kind of moral hazard issue that they are going to come up. So that's why we need to reflect how the motive between users and the providers. This one we need to reflect. Are we trusted enough? Are we doing this ethical enough? Are we not doing bad to other people? This is also what we are trying to expect from the Islamic fintech by the MSME. The third one is about engaging to more competitive margin and profit loss sharing. The rate still considered higher for short tenure and limited credited level. Although we know that everything that's come up with the Sharia has a price. We cannot assume that when you are compliant with the Sharia, people will see that Islamic fintech is a good institution. So they will always offer a low margin for a long tenure. It's not really that simple. So we need to also give some competitive margin to compete with each other. And the last is about strengthening collaboration with microfinance institution. We need to because we need some an insurance for the company and from the Islamic fintech. We need to see how can we trace their track record of as the lender, as the borrower. If we access from the fintech from the from the bank as the subsidiary institution from the bank, they can access to the information from the central bank. Are they a good borrower or not? They have track record. But about the microfinance level, and we cannot see that. And this is the common barriers that how can we assure that the borrower are a good one. This is what we are trying to expect from the Islamic fintech when they try to engage each other from the MSME to the Islamic fintech. So, in this slide, I need to give some clarity that right now, since COVID, MSME, to get some financing, they need to reflect themselves. When they are trying to survive since COVID and after COVID and for the further, they need to have some implementation of business continuity plan. I got this implementing business continuity plan is from the BCP from ILO 2020. The recent one, you can go to the website. The first thing that the MSE has to consider is by to identifying key product of services by asking themselves what is demand from our product, what is share income does product generate, and will be a damage to the company reputation if the consumer unsatisfied. So this one will be a damage. These are all the questions to identify the key product and services that we are going to we are going to give to our customer. And then after we're done identifying the key product, we need also to identify the process to the core of product and services. And identifying this process is by sketching up the product life cycle, from how we can get the material, the process, the supply chain order need to be looked up in detail so that we can identify the disruption in the product life cycle. We can see the step number 3. By knowing disruption in the life cycle, we'll have to assess the level of risk of each disruption, and we need to mitigate everything. Since we have already assessed the potential disruption and what are the risks and what kind of solution that we can come up, we can establish the control measure and responsibility by make a living document. The living document is when we are the owner and the other member of the employee to monitor local situation, global update, and the company can see the risks that will be disrupt their businesses. So what need to be considered by the MSME? I think this is already everybody knows when we're regarding the MSME. Apparently, after the COVID-19, we need to reaffirm ourselves that diversification is so important. Sophistication is so important. The complexity of our product is so important. Structural transformation, is it really affecting our MSME? Because from the diversification and sophistication and complexity, this has become the role major. How does Islamic fintech will perceive our company? Does our product really that good that has some potential to give some more profit, some more benefit to the Islamic fintech or not? This kind of thing that need to be considered by the MSME for the future. So now, how does MSME engage in fintech? The first thing that we need to do as the MSME practitioner is by understanding the potential sectors. And we can gather right now, when in the perspective of the FSME, we know that there are some problem, some friction, some problem issue in our economic sectors, which are affected by pandemic. So what kind of sectors that we are going into? Whether we are a startup or the surviving firms from the impact from the COVID-19, we need to change our marketing mode. By changing our marketing mode from the offline mode to online mode, or even both of them, we have some possibility, the probability to gain access to the financing from the Islamic fintech. Because Islamic fintech will not only give some opportunity to the MSME if they cannot guarantee themselves about their reputation. If you are going to using offline, how can Islamic fintech assure that you are doing a good product, a good project? They cannot assure that. But since we are shifting our current normal activity from the economy, from the offline to the online, everything is tracked, everything has trace, everything has database. So we can see that some of us are selling our product using Instagram or using Facebook or using e-commerce platform. They have some measurement to secure our reputation. So by gaining access to the reputation, the Islamic fintech or the fintech company, they have some assurance. They can see that this company is really a good one, trustworthy one, that we can give some access to the financing. So that's why online database, review, reputation is important right now. That's the capital that need to be amassed by the MSME, so they can access the fintech. Because reputation is a distinct from the actual character of behavior of the company and may be a better or worse. Reputation is the measurement of how much community trusts the firm. It displays the valuable asset of firms as the base of economic currency. This, by we having the good track record from the internet, from the online database, will give some credibility, capability, and confidence for ourselves as the MSME and from the Islamic fintech company. They see us as trustworthiness partner, because when we can see the trace of our performances, they know that you are a good option of partner. So to quote from the McPagel, they said that by having a good reputation can be used to buy cooperation from others, even people never met. We can see from the Islamic fintech, we never know who is it, especially if we are using the P2P lending. We don't know who are they, and we are giving some money without any collateral, any know about everything. How can we have some confidence with some of our money? This reputation is so important and so matter for the MSME to amass to gain access to the Islamic fintech company and financing. And the last one, this is what I gathered from Dan Schulman paper of the CEO 2020. In TED Talk, he said that we need to perceive COVID-19 as a momentum to create more inclusive and more ethical economy. We can see inclusive means we are playing to the micro level and small level in the industry and give some benefit to the economy. But ethical economy, we are trying to get some trust between one each other, but they using reputation become as our capital. I think that's all what I can explain today. I give back my time to moderator, Ms. Martini. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. PhD candidates of Dr. Zain Mutakin. Hopefully you will be the PhD soon. Okay, that was a great presentation. And these presentations today, both from Dr. Tariq Khan and also from Zain Mutakin, raise an optimism about how we survived or how SMEs survive in this pandemic of COVID-19. And we got an insight from both country, Indonesia and Malaysia, about the role of the financial technology to scale up the small and medium enterprises. Well, now I'm going to get into the discussion and section. And in this section, we are going to open the access for all the participants to deliver any questions in whatever the language, in English, Bahasa, or Melayu, because it will be understood by both the presentation, both speakers today. If anyone from the participants want to deliver the questions immediately, we invite you. And waiting for the participants, if there are no immediate question, I will read the question from the public chat space. There are questions arising from these presentations. The first question comes from Rahmawati from Universitas Islam Indonesia, addressed her question to Dr. Muhammad Tariq Khan. And the first question is, how is the application of risk management of P2P lending? Because we both know that from your presentation, P2P lending is quite risky. And there is regulation of standard regarding these matters. And the next question is, what is the issue of Sharia P2P lending activity? Maybe this, the second question is about the Sharia P2P lending. Okay, Dr. Tariq Islam, you can answer this question directly.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Martini. The first question is about the risk management of P2P lending. So P2P lending platform is not about the risk. There is definitely a risk issue. What Securities Commission in Malaysia is doing is they're closely monitoring those platforms are approved by them because there are so many applicants of this P2P platform, and they closely monitor and assess their credibility to raise fund and also to pay back the money to the investors. Then only they allow this P2P lending platform to run their operation, even though after when they started running their operation, the P2 Securities Commission is still monitoring their activities. So from the risk perspective, I can say that if, let's say, definitely there is no collateral or no pledge sort of things that can be support against the loan, right? So what P2P platform is doing is, if let's say if there is any listing is failure, right? The SMEs or the startups because of moral hazard they cannot function, right? So they raise money from the lender, right? So what the P2P platform is going to do is they will pay back on behalf of SMEs to the investors, but they'll give a certain time to SMEs to settle the issues, so that the platform will be the intermediary. So they'll act as on behalf of the SMEs, but SMEs will have certain timeline to pay back that money to SMEs. So it's strictly regulated by Securities Commission, I would say, in Malaysia. From that point of view, we can manage a certain sort of risk in P2P platform. And also the best would be to invest not only in one business, so they need to invest in different types of P2P platforms, so they can diversify their fund, not only investing in maybe P2P pinfall or funding societies or maybe funded by me, that can diversify their investment to reduce the risk. From the investor point of view, that can minimize the risk by way of doing this. And if we talk about, I think that's answer the first question. If I talk about the second question, if we try to think about Sharia perspective, how we can implement into P2P platform. Actually, P2P platform is based on the return that the platform is, or the SMEs are going to return back to the investors, right? Is the reward which is coming through the interest or the principal or the repayment based on the contract, right? So if we try to incorporate with the Sharia, so there can be like the concept we follow normally, like we don't need to we need to abolish or remove the interest from that transaction, so we can have like some sort of profit sharing or risk sharing basis that can be implemented, like the concept we have in Islamic banking. It can be through the profit sharing. If the business grow and work it out, they can share the profit, and also if the business is in risk, they need to share the risk at the same time. So that concept can be applied, I'm saying that, in P2P lending. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Darikul Islam. Maybe Mr. Dan, maybe there's an answer.
Actually, I couldn't agree more because yeah, what we face from the fintech when they are facing the charges from the accessing to by the P2P platform to to giving some assistance is probably is possible, because if I'm not mistaken, I read one of article that discussing about the how there are some collaborating partner between fintech and the BMT Islamic Cooperative. They can give some, the BMT know who is the MSME, so they know the track record. So that's why when they try to give some assistance system, when the fintech cannot go by the personally to the SME, the BMT help them to give some assistance. This kind of collaboration between the institution for assurance in by the MSME, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we both know that P2P lending is quite risky. In Indonesia also there are many cases addressed to P2P lending that it caused some fraud and many other things. So there is some regulations from the Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, or OJK, regulated whether this platform is trusted, reliable or not. So I guess there's the list of some P2P platforms, the reliable ones, the good one, and
the bad one. Yeah, I know that when we are facing using P2P lending, the risk is quite higher because we never know people motives when they're accessing our funds. We don't know them. Actually, actually we can probably see that the small access to the financing, for instance, we are trying to access some financing for 5 million rupiah. But where there are no collateral, it's more money. But if you go into 3 or 4 fintech, it's come about 20 million. If you are not a good user, you just go. Nobody knows that this also already happens in the BNT. There are because there are no such a tracing method to trace how they can they assure they are a trustworthy one. They can be a fraud. Rather than when the bank, they can go to the central bank. They can access our record. So that's why still become the problem. When I try to access the credit tanpa agunan, a credit without collateral in Indonesia, if you are using from a bank platform, they ask you to give you credit card numbers and then your salary slip. They can see that along from the 3 months before. How is your salary? Is it the platform still available to your capacity? And then what the credit card record? Are you a rich one or not? Are you a good credit card user or not? They can access that. But when you are using fintech, when there are no such a requirement like that, how can you assure? How can we can protect our user, which is the borrower and the lender? We can assure that they have some protection for their money, not like the bank. Now this can still has become the regulate. We need to specifically make some regulation to protect lenders in the P2P lending or any form of fintech in Indonesia. That's still a kind of problem. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Zain. And for the second question, to address to Dr. Sarekol again, from Dr. Siti Aciria, this is from UI. In P2P platforms, is there any form of assistance, the assistance system from the P2P platforms?
Okay, thank you for the question. For a P2P platform, like those who are registered P2P platform, they have some sort of a video to help the investors to promote and also to invest into this P2P platform or certain sort of listing. So they have the guidelines and they have the clear guidelines that how investors can contribute to different types of businesses who are seeking for fund. And the platform provides that opportunity. Platform assists those investors.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's from the platform. They have the guidelines of the procedure how investors can invest into certain listing or a specific listing. So the guideline is given very clearly. The guideline is given very clearly. It's like, if I give you the example for funding societies, it's very clear, step-by-step guidelines. So they give full assistance of the investors, how they can proceed to this investment by selecting businesses or the listing from that list of listing they have. So sometimes the investors, they can see the credit profile, like the lending purpose, the loan amount, excuse me, and also the duration and the prepayment. So based on that credit profile and all this information, the investors can easily know which one I should invest based on the investors' requirement as well about the risk and return. And research has shown that it depends sometimes on the lending purpose or whether the company belongs to a certain gender, or maybe their profile is very important sometimes to get more funding. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. And before the next question, I would like to remind all the participants to fill up the link to access to the e-certificate and also the materials of today's presentation. Thank you. Okay, the next questions come from Mr. Anam Garbo, addressed to both speakers today. He says that SMEs and financial institutions are currently both facing difficulties in dealing with pandemic, the risk of uncertainty. So can P2P be a solution to develop SMEs when the majority of SMEs in Indonesia is still not good in digital financial literacy? I think this question addressed specifically to Mr. Zen, because we are talking about the digital literacy, digital financial literacy of Indonesia. How can the financial technology be a solution when the SMEs themselves did not literate enough to access the financing from the financial technology? Maybe this question addressed to Dr. Zen.
Okay, thank you. One thing that we need to ensure that when we're talking about accessing the financing in the uncertainty time, P2P lending is not only our option. That's the thing. There are a lot of another form of another type of access that can be given by the fintech, like what has been discussed by Dr. Tariko about equity model. We can give in Indonesia. We can go to using musyarakah. That's right. We can use a mudharabah type of financing. But the thing is, when this uncertainty came, like what I presented before, we need to understand what is our core value of product and services. So that's why when the fintech try to give some money to us, we are already set up. What we have some clarity. What is the core product that will bring us to further step into the economy? So that's why when digital literacy, actually when we go to, if you go to the website from the fintech, it's so boring sometimes because we cannot see any mechanism. They use mechanism just by giving away some poster, our mechanism to give you some lending just like this, blah 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 blah. It's so boring. We need to give some literacy using a video, because people will see how actually how we can give some literacy about the fintech itself to give some money to the lenders, to the borrowers, from lenders to the borrowers. And also, the literacy is not only about the academic and narrative. They also need to give some mention from the user. Actually, from the lenders, the lender can say anything about how easy to access the financing. A couple days ago, I checked one of the website from Indonesia Islamic FinTech website. It's quite fascinating because they give some assurance that our product is become a P2P lending company. So that's why they give us some information. We are giving some money to the pedagang kaki lima. I don't know what is it in English. Pedagang kaki lima. A trader, 5 foot.
Street seller.
A stall trader. Yeah, using small stall. And they give some information. We give them some money, they can access it. This kind of, and who is the lenders, who has accumulated. That's very nice. when we see the website. And the other one is just plain white blank. There are no information. Even there is also another one that there are no website at all. How can they get some user if they cannot give some literacy? It's so funny. So that's why for me to look at into the Islamic fintech, I'm kind of skeptical because they're not giving they much more effort to give some literacy. They just want to get some money. They want to just get some profit. But the thing is, they cannot assure everything. So this is the thing. I'm not the one that tried to diminish the existence of the Islamic fintech. But Islamic fintech, you should reflect yourself. How good are you? So that's the problem, I think.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zain. Quite interesting. And maybe I want to have an insight of the Malaysian practice about the digital literacy, especially for financial technology, because I see that the financial technology is quite beneficial in Malaysia. What about the digital literacy? So, Dr.
Okay, thank you. If you talk about internet penetration in rate in Malaysia is quite high, and also the average users use the internet like 8 hours per day, and like more often the tend to access to like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook. They're like within it. It's not like something which is apart from our life. So like there is a research has shown that like every 5 minutes we have the tendency to check our status on Facebook, what's going on, and also on Instagram. So I would say that digital literacy is quite impressive in Malaysia. And if I talk about this fintech lending or crowdfunding, or I talk about P2P lending or digital token offering, this type of fintech innovation that are targeting mainly the millennials and also Gen Z, because these millennials, for any type of services they're using the phone to grab all these kind of services. When they wanted to go somewhere, they use the Grab. They wanted to order food, so they're within it. So the millennials are within it. So they're not apart from this. So it's very easy for Malaysian fintech lending to access to this kind of market segment. So I would say that it's quite impressive from my side.
Yes, because most of SMEs is in Indonesia are not literate enough. And the next question is the role of banks to participate effectively in this problem, to switch from the traditional to the financial technology. Do we really separate it from the bank role, or do we need the bank to also participate to spread the benefit of financial technology or whatsoever? Please, Dr. Tarikul, this is the second question from Mr. Anam Garbo.
Okay, so bank is, we're not trying to say that the bank would not be there at all, okay? So it's just kind of thing that fintech lending is trying to remove the banking intermediaries from their value chain or from their business model. So if let's say the bank has to compete with the fintech innovation as well. So we see that there are so many innovation in the banking sector as well. They're trying to have bring to digital banking, and also they're going to become branchless slowly. So they're trying to focus mainly on their product and services, which previously was very difficult to access. And at the same time, they're trying to compete with all this fintech innovation, because fintech lending, they're trying to focus on unbanked individuals, unbanked professional, unbanked SMEs or unbanked lenders or the borrowers who are previously was underserved. So this fintech lending, they're trying to cap that market. So if the banking wanted to compete with this fintech innovation, fintech lending, so they have to be also digitalized. They have to make sure that the service that we're providing to the lender or the borrower, it should have some sort of fastest way. It should be most safest way to do the banking activities. So it should be more digitalized. I would say that it should be more digitalized.
Okay.
And that we need to consider about open banking system, which is application program interface. so that it would not be any restricted to any certain country, so it would be borderless. So the bank from anywhere can operate all over the world. So that's the way that I can compete.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Doctor, for the answer. I'm gonna bring a change to Larzen because we are going to the next question again from Ramawati about another problem facing the SMEs through during the pandemic. It's not only from financing, but also they are facing another problems. And she asked about the challenges for the P2PL and another SIM concerning the SMEs in this pandemic.
Okay, again. Okay, thank you. Again, I stress again, when we are trying to access some financing, do not consider yourself just by using P2P lending. There are a lot other type of financing in the fintech. When you try to access amount of, when you become the MSME, the company, when you try to access more financing, you just go to the bank, because bank will professionally have a lot of a coverage of financing they can give to you. In Indonesia, so far, the highest coverage of financing, if I'm not mistaken, is around 300 million rupiah. That's the highest. And the tenure, the longest is about 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. When you're trying to access for about 100 million rupiah, you can only have a tenure about 3 months. That's the good offer. If you are trying to access more money and more longer tenure, you just go to the bank. Don't rely yourself to the fintech, because fintech, they are basically propose a short-term financing, so you can give some boost up your business in the short time. But in the long time, if it's a long time, you just go to the bank. That's the thing. That's the thing. So when you're facing the pandemic, the problem, yeah, you need to assess yourself. Are you good enough? Are you confident enough that this is what I can gather. You want big bunch of money, but you are not a good one, because bank will automatically reject you because you're not good enough, because you are because they all have all of your track record. So that's why you are using P2P lending. So this is kind of moral hazard that I referred before. This is the problem. So as you are as the practitioner, you need to reflect yourself. What are you going to be? Who are you? That's kind of the problem. Don't just give yourself to the conveniences that be provided by the fintech. It's not fair. It's not fair for the fintech. They also a company to get some profit from the lenders. You are abusing your incapability to access, to give your betterment for your MSME. It's not fair for me. So that's why when you're trying to access more money, you just go to the bank. If you're not good enough, reflect yourself. That's the thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Junior. So he stressed that there are many kinds of financial technology, as explained by Dr. Tariqul Islam, and this is not only P2PL but also crowdfunding and also equity financing. From your perspective, Dr. Tariqul, what is the most preferable kind of financial technology from the perspective of the investor? Which is more preferable? Was it the P2PL or the crowdfunding? Okay,
so we have few options to raise funds through this digital innovation. We have P2P lending, we have crowdfunding, and recently we have digital token offering, which is really impressive, I would say, from Securities Commission, the guideline that they have disclosed to the public, how actually the investors can invest into this type of initial coin or the digital token that would be issued by the companies. And if I compare this among these three types of financing sources, I would say that P2P financing in Malaysia is going to be an adolescent stage. It's going to be mature very soon, pretty soon in Malaysia, because they have supported a lot to the Malaysian SMEs. And the Securities Commission is still, they're holding so many applications from different types of mutual fund companies and also unit trust. They're applying for this type of license from the Securities Commission. SC is still assessing and evaluating their ability to run this type of operation. And if I talk about crowdfunding, especially equity crowdfunding and also donation-based crowdfunding is gaining popularity in Malaysia. And I would rank this crowdfunding at the second place. But in terms of regulation and going to get the maturity, P2P lending should be the first priority. And also the new one that we talk about, digital token offering, if I have read through their the process and the procedure and the guidelines, I would say this can be a very huge changes on actually how SMEs are going to raise the capital. So it can have more impact on SMEs, especially because the company can have their own digital token. So this they're going to use the Ethereum technology, and it's going to be recorded in the blockchain, which is immutable, and it's going to be get so much benefit to the investors and also the companies. So I'm not saying that which one is first priority, which one is second priority, but all of these financing sources have their own advantages that they can provide to the SMEs and at the same time to the investors. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sarikola. And I'm not going to give any change for Mr. Zen to answer because our time is limited to 12 o'clock in Indonesian time. It's
can you repeat that?
Yes, because our time is limited. So I'm going to close this webinar, international webinar, by some conclusion that from both presentation, we know that Mr. Tariqul Islam Khan has explained the variety of financial technologies to support the SMEs financing. And from the Mr. Zen Mutakin, we also know how the role of Islamic financial technologies in financing the SMEs. And I'm very grateful for both speakers because today we got an insight and the comparison of the financial technology practice both from Indonesia and also from Malaysia. And what is more important is this webinar today raise an optimism for the small and medium enterprises to resist and to be to resist and to face this pandemic situation to get the finance from the financial technology. I'm very grateful and thankful for the both speakers, Dr. Muhammad Tariqul Islam Khan and also Mr. Zen Mutakin, SAEMA, for your presentation. And we really hopefully we will have another collaboration in the future. And for all the participants today, we are also thankful for participating this international webinar. And we are going to close this agenda by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Doctor. See you in the next occasion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.